Right, so what do we have here is January 2018 paper 1. And what you'll find with the paper 1s is that questions are often repeated. So like this first question, you can see was the first question in the last paper 1 that we did. So hopefully you guys could remember it. So what is 40, what percentage, and read your question carefully please, what percentage of 40 is 8? It's not asking you to find 8% of 40. A lot of people are doing that. But no, what percentage, so what percentage of 40 is 8? And remember, you don't have a calculator for this, right? So you have to, this exam is no calculators allowed, so you definitely have to work this on your own. So I will throw the 4 across, so I have x over 10 is equal to 8 divided by 4, so therefore x over 10 is equal to 2, and therefore x is 20. So the answer there is 20. What percentage of 40 is 8? It's 20%. Right? So be careful how you read the question. Nice. How do we calculate this one? The exact value of 6 divided by 0.0003. I have a couple of different ways that we could calculate this without using a calculator. And one of the ways is by realizing that this, turning this into a fraction, you put your 1 where your decimal is, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros there. So this is really 3 over 10,000. So I have 6 divided by 3 over 10,000. Right? And of course, we know that we flip and multiply, so that's 6 over 1 multiplied by 10,000 over 3, and 3 will go into 6, 2, so the answer here is 20,000. You okay with this, Jose? Alright. Number 3, 6 times 10 to the negative n is 0.06. Well, we know 0.06. In order for me to get back from here to the 6, I would need to move 2 spaces, 1, 2. Yeah. So if I had 6 by 10 to the negative 2, then that point there would move 1, 2, and I would get back 0.06, right? So obviously the answer here is 2 decimal spaces. Paula bought 1 7/8 meters of fabric to make a shirt, while Rita bought 1 3/4 meters of fabric to make a shirt. How much more fabric did Paula buy than Rita? Well, that is just simply a minusing. She buy more than her, so how much more? So you just minus 1 7 on 8 minus 1 3 on 4. And of course the problem here, and I hope Shazay, that when you are doing a paper 1, that you do not give in to the temptation of using a calculator, right? So try not to have a calculator around you. So how do we do this without a calculator? Well, the first thing I would do is change this to a mixed number. So 8 ones are 8, and 8 plus 7 is 15 over 8, minus 4 ones are 4, 5, 6, 7 over 4. And what I would do here in this situation, I'm not going to do the LCM madness, no. I realizing 4 is a multiple of 8. So if I multiply this times 2 and I multiply this times 2, what am I multiplying by? I'm multiplying by 2 over 2, which is 1. So I'm actually multiplying it by 1, which means that I'm not changing it. So 15 over 8 minus 7 2s are 14 over 4 2s are 8. Yeah. So this is a nice, neat little trick that I hope you guys could remember, especially if the denominators are multiples, then or factors. Then you can do this little cheeky trick of multiplying by 1. Yeah, and turn it into that. And now the answer here is 1 over 8. Right. Right. So 29.94 divided by 0.5 is approximately. Now, I know, and how I would think about this, you don't really even need to get into any calculations. This is a little bit of common sense, and sometimes it's hard to find your common sense when you're in the middle of an exam. Because in the middle of an exam, your brain is all thinking complicated, and you're thinking, oh, this is some kind of a calculation, rah, rah, rah. But no, common sense will actually help you with this, because this here is very close to 30. So this is like basically 30. Multiply by 0.5. Well, this is 30 divided by 2, isn't it? Because multiply by 0.5 is basically multiply by a half. So 30 multiplied by a half is 15. Yeah. So you can see that no sort of calculation really had to happen there, right? This is also a repeat question that we saw recently. There are 40 students in a class. Girls make up 60% of the class. So let me not even move forward there. 40 students in a class. Girls make up 60%. So 60% of the class of 40 students. That is zip, 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 zip. 6 4s are 24. So that's 24 girls in the class, right? 25% of the girls wear glasses. So how many girls wear glasses? So 25% of this number. 25% of all of the girls, right? Which is a quarter of 24, which is 6 girls. So 6 girls wear glasses. And as I say, if I go into fast for you, feel free to slow me down, right? A little bit of a distributive law here. 3 times 7 plus 3 times 5. So we can see here that this 3 is being multiplied by the 7 plus the 3 is being multiplied by the 5. So we could think about it as 3 multiplied by 7 plus 5. And is there any option like that? 3 multiplied by 5 plus 7. Well, this is dangerous here. Even though I could have 3 multiplied by 5 plus 7, right? Yes, this is correct. But look at this. This is quite dangerous because this is 3 multiplied by 5, which is 15. And then you're adding the 7. So that is dangerous here. So at the end of the day, C looks more like what we have, 3 multiplied by 7 plus 5, right? What is the highest common factor of the set of numbers? So just remember, in terms of factors and multiples, factors are the smaller ones and multiples are the bigger ones, and we're looking for the highest factor of these set of numbers. So we could see here that 15 is definitely a factor that could go into 30, it could go into 45, and it can go into 90 as well. So 15 would be the answer here. And please feel free to stop me if you don't understand something, right? What is the least number of plums that can be shared equally among either 6, 9, or 12 children, right? So 6, 9, or 12 children, the least number of plums. So we're talking about the LCM, or the lowest common multiple. So we have 6, 9, or 12. So what is the multiple? Which one of these numbers here is our lowest multiple of 6? Well, we can see it's not 27 because 27 divided by 6 is 4.5. So it can't be 27 because 27 is not a multiple of 6. So it would probably have to be 36 because I know 6 times 6 is 36. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 4s are 36. And then 12 3s are 36. So the answer here is 36. If 3n is an odd number, which of the following is an even number? Well, if I had an odd number 3, in order to get an even number, I just need to add 1. Or in order to get an even number, I need to subtract 1. So not subtract 2, subtract 1. right? So if you have an odd number and you add one or you subtract one, you will get an even number. So in this case, if you had an odd number and you add 2, you'll end up with an odd number. You know, we can see here that A is the best choice. So if I had an odd number, let's just say it was 3, and I minus 1 from it, I will get 2. So 3n is an odd number, not n, not n, 3n. So the answer there is A. Shazay, how you going with it so far? Good. All right. Cool. Now, if 3, 6, and 9, if A is the set of numbers 3, 6, and 9, then the number of subsets is, well, we see that we have 3 elements, 1, 2, 3. So the number of subsets will be 2 to the power of 3, which is 2 2s are 4, 2s are 8. We have 8 subsets here, right? Which of the following Venn diagrams is the region A intersect B complement? Right, so I think we did this already, and we can see here that what do we want? We want A. So yes, we want A, and we want A intersected with nothing that is in B. So A, I want A, but I don't want nothing that's in B. So obviously anything like this will be wrong, and obviously this will be wrong because I do not want anything that's in B. So these are my 2 options here. I want A, yes, but look, this here is in B, and I do not want that. So this here is the obvious answer, B, where I have the set A intersecting with nothing that is in B. So I don't want anything that's in B at all, right? If the universal set U is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and H is 3, 4, and 6, then H prime equals what? What is H prime? I don't remember that. What is H prime? Oh no, sorry, H complement. You see how others get mad, confused sometimes? But yes, it's H complement, right? So H complement is everything that is not in H. So I do not want 3, I do not want 4, I do not want 6. So it's 1, 2, and 5. D. H prime, yes? That's you can see how tired I am. Exhausted. Right? So item 14 refers to the following Venn diagram. So we have a Venn diagram there. In the Venn diagram, U shows the students who play games. So the U is the full total universal set, where H is the students who play hockey, V is the ones who play volleyball, and we can see that they intersect. The number of students in each set is indicated. How many students do not play volleyball? So how many students do not play volleyball? Well, you have the 2 here that is play volleyball and the 4 here that is play volleyball. So that means that 5 here do play volleyball and this 3 over here do not play volleyball. So the answer is 8. Right. Simple interest, blah, 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 blah. So once you see the word simple interest, I will just start to think one time. Simple interest is equal to principal by rate by time over 100, right? So the simple interest on $600, so $600 is your principal. For 4 years, that is your time. At 5% per annum, rate is principal by rate by time over 100. This is the answer, and thankfully they didn't even ask you to figure it out, right? Number 16, 3.25% of 500. That is an interesting question of $500. So 3.25%. So what I would do is I would go 4 3s are 12 and 1 is 13. So that is 13 over 4%. of 500. Right? So 13 over 4% of 500 is really 13 over 4 multiplied by 5. So that means that I have 13 over 4 times 5, right? So that's 5, well, the answer will be over 4, and I just multiply. So 5 ones are 5, so that's, well, 5 threes are 15, and 5 times 10 is 50, and 1 is 65 over 40. Oh, sorry, over 4. And 65 divided by 4, well, now I have to work out, well, okay, 4, how could 4 go into 64? If, let me just say 4 times 16, 6 4s are 24, and 1 4 is 4, 5, 6, so that's 16, and it wouldn't be $16, so it'll definitely be 16.25 there, right? Because you have a remainder, and I wouldn't even bother work out what the remainder is because I could see there that we have 16.25. Miss Jones has US 200 to change to TT. The bank gives her 620 for 1 US, so 1 US, and charges $250 for the transaction. So how much will she receive, right? So we have 1 US equals 620 TT. Right? So this lady have 200 US. So how much TT will that be? Well, that will be 620 times 2. So that is 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 2s are 4. Then I'll add the 0. Yeah, so that's 1240. 620 times 2 is 1200. 200 is 1240 TT. Yeah, and then I have to minus $2.50. So that will give us minusing $2. So if I minus $2, I'll end up with $12.38, and then I minus another 50 cents, I'll end up with $12.37. A man's basic wage for a 40-hour week is $160. Okay? So one thing you want to remember for basic wage for a 40-hour week, he is paid $5 per hour. So basic wage means that you're being paid per hour. He is paid $5 per hour for overtime. Right? If he works 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, his wage for that week is what? So the man's basic wage for a 40-hour week is $160. So he worked the 40-hour week, so he make $160. So that is the money that he make without overtime. He made $160, and now he is paid $5 per hour for overtime, and he works 6.5 hours. So that is the overtime now is $5 times the 6.5. So 6 5s are 30. Right? So 6 5s are 30, and then half of $5 is $2.50. So that means that that'll be $32.50. So that means that 160 and 30, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see here that I have 192.50. Right? So a dinner at a restaurant was advertised at $60 plus 18% tax. So what's the total? So I'll find 18% of $60. So that is 6 8s are 48. Right? And 6 1s are 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 108 divided by 10, which gives me $10.80. So this is the amount of tax that she paid, plus the $60. So 60 plus 1080, which gives us $70.80, right? And you notice trying to work everything without a calculator. And yes, I do have my calculator next to me just to ensure that I'm getting it correct, because I can't be teaching all the wrong thing, yeah? And you know I just make mistakes a lot. So I do have my calculator here checking if I get it correct, but I am trying to work it here just to make sure that you guys could see how we're working it without the calculator, right? Number 20. A store offers a discount of 10% to customers who spend more than $20. And this is actually, I'm sure this is not going to have anything to do with the question, right? If a customer's total bill is $80, what will he actually pay? Well, he'll get a 10% discount. So he'll get a discount of 10% of $80. Zip, 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 zip. So he'll get a discount of $8. So that means that he'll have a discount of $80 minus $8, which is C, $72. A salesman sells a car for $10,500 if he is paid a commission of 5% for the first $10,000 and 8% on the remainder. Then the total commission that he receives is. That is crazy. So 5% for the first 10,000. So let's say 5 over 100 multiplied by 10,000 over 1. Zip, 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 zip. So that's $500 he make on the first 10,000, and then 8% on the remainder. So he make 8% of the remainder being $500. $500. Zip, 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 zip. 5 8s are 40. So 500 plus 40 is 540. Mr. Jones buys a car for $64,000. The car depreciates by 20% in the first year and 10% in each of the following years. The value of the car at the end of the second year is what? So we have here $64,000 is the price of the car, and it'll depreciate by 20%. So we'll have to find 20% of 64,000. Zip, 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 right? So that is essentially 64 times 2, which is 128, I believe. 64 times 2 is 128. And then we have them 2 zeros to add to it. So wow, that car depreciates by $12,800 after the first year. So after the first year is 64,000 minus 12,800. And how I would do this is I would say, well, okay, 64,000 minus 10. So 64,000 minus 10,000 will give me 54,000, and then I'll minus another 2,000, which will give me 52,000, and now I'll minus the 800, so that will give me 51,200, right? So you notice how I did it in my mind there, mental math, and I did mental math with my form trees today. Is 60 minus 10 is 50, alright? And then I did the 4 minus the 2. Alright, so 60 minus 10 is 50, then 4 minus 2 is 2,000. So that's 52,000 I had there. And then I minus the 800 to give me 51,200. And now I have 51,200 is the price of it after the first year. And now it depreciates 10% in the second year. So 10% of that, zip, zip. So this will work out to be 5120, 5,200, 5,102. So I will minus 5,120, sorry. Yeah. So this minus 5,120. How do I do this in my mind? Well, first of all, to do it in my mind, I'll need to write it all on meter. Alright, 5,120. So I'll say, you know what? I mean, obviously, I have this 1200 here minus in the 5,000. Well, 0 minus 0, 0 minus 2. So I could do it the old-fashioned way actually, but I could go 200 minus 120. I could do that, and that will give me $80. And then I could go 51 minus 5, and that will give me 46. So the answer is 46080. Nice. Shazay, you okay with this one?
Yes.
Alright. And Soraya, you should be cool with the first, at least the first 30 questions here, right? So in this case here, we're gonna go, well, I see in P's and Q's, the first thing I'm gonna do is expand my brackets. So I'll have 15P plus 55Q minus 2 3s are 6P, and then negative 2 times 4 is minus 4 2s are 8Q. And now I could say, well, 15 minus 6 is 9P, and then 55 minus 8. So 55 minus 5 is 50 minus another 3, which is 47. So we have this answer here, 47Q. This is an interesting one. Remember, this is negative 1 outside the bracket, so this becomes positive 2Q minus 3Q, which is negative 1Q, right, which is C. We have here a simple laws of indices questions, and you know when you divide, you minus the indices, so this is 2 to the power of 4. And a simple question here, you know, you just had a throw away, not throw over the 5. So 5 2s are 10, so that's 20 multiplied by 5, right? When 7 is added, and I'm not even going to look at the answers, I'm just going to work my own thing. When 7 is added to 3 times a certain number, so I have 3 times a certain number, and I add in 7, the result is 22. So 3 times a certain number plus 7 is 22 is C. If x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 2, then the value of that is, well, this is a pretty easy one, right? X is equal to 4, so that'll be 4 squared plus 3y is equal to 2 all over 4 times 2. So 4 4s are 16 plus 3 2s are 6. All over 4 2s are 8. So 16 and 4 is 20 plus 2 is 22 over 8. And I know 8 1s are 8 2s are 16, 8 3s are 24, so that'll be 2. 8 2s are 16, 17, and 6 over 8, which is 2 and 3 2s are 6, 4 2s are 8, 3 over 4, which is D. The item refers to the following diagram of a trapezium, right? So we see here that we have a perpendicular height. The trapezium is a height h, has an area of that. The equation that may be used to find the value of x is all of that business. Well, what is the area of a trapezium? The area of a trapezium is, what it is the half of a plus b times the perpendicular height, isn't it? Is this the area of a trapezium? Shazzy? Yeah, I think it is. A half a plus b times the perpendicular height is the area, and a plus b is the two parallel sides. So it's a half of 2 plus x minus 4 times that perpendicular height h. So that is a half of 2 is, well, actually let me work out this first. A half inside the brackets of 2 minus 4 That's x minus 2. Right? H. So now I could see that this is x on 2 minus 1 times h. So let me see if it have anything. Why did I get x squared? A half the sum of the parallel sides by the perpendicular height. Yes or no? Oh, has an area of x squared. Okay. So the area is x squared. So that is what it's saying, the area. You see how the teeth up my head, right? So this here is x squared, right? So therefore x squared is, yeah, we could say it's h on 2 into x minus 2. Look, we had it here, right? So they didn't expand the brackets. I expanded the brackets, and you know what? Let me just take this and bring it downstairs here so that you guys could see. Right? Oops, sorry. So I expanded the brackets, but they didn't expand the brackets. So look, they have here a half times h. That's what they did. A half times h is h on 2, and you have the x minus 2. And look, there it is, right? So the x squared, and they should have just put a, you know, because that x squared is really confusing, man. That x squared can mess you up real crappily, you know? So that is a poor writing of a question there. It confuses you unnecessarily. Given that the value of 7, find the value of x. So this is a solve for x thing. So the first thing I need to do is expand the brackets. So I have 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is minus 3. And then I have minus 2x. And then 2 times negative 1 is plus 2. And that is equal to 7. So 3 minus 2 is x, that is 1x. 3x minus 2x is 1x. And then negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, and that is equal to 7. So x is equal to 7 plus 1, that's 8. Item number 32 refers to the following diagram of a circle. Item 32 refers to the following diagram of a circle. We have that diagram there. We can see that that segment is 60 degrees. In the circle above, with center O, the area is 20 centimeters squared. So the area of the whole circle is, so the area of the minor sector. So the area of the minor sector will just be 60 all over 360, which is the fraction of the circle multiplied by the area of the full circle. So 6 sixes are 36, so this is 1 over 6 times 20. So look, they have it here, 60 over 36 times 20. They didn't simplify it, so they just had 60 over 36 times 20. So that is the answer for number 32. For number 33, 2,500 milliliters expressed as meters. These simple little things like this just have a tendency of confusing me. Like, I just get confused by really, really simple things and really complex things. I'm good at working complicated things, right? So, millimeters expressed in meters. Well, I have 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. Right? And I have 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So therefore, if I have 2,500 millimeters, that will be multiplying by that, expressed in meters, 1 centimeter. Right? Okay, yeah. So that will be 2,500, it'll be 0.25. 2,500 millimeters, well, 100 centimeters is 1 meter, so it will be 1 meter is 100 centimeters. 10 millimeters is up to, sorry, what's the answer for this? Just quick, Shazay, where you get for this? You put B, 2.5, right? Because just now Just now I write this wrong and this confusing me, so hold on. Right? So 10 millimeters is equal to 1 centimeter. That's correct, right? I just hope that that's not wrong. And 100 centimeters is 1 meter. Right? So 2500 millimeters could be expressed as meters. All right. So let me just say okay, so 2500 centimeters. So one millimeter. All right. So yeah, look, I got it there. Yeah. So that's 100 centimeters, which is 1 meter. So 1 centimeter. So 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, right? So that means that 1 meter, 1 millimeter will be 1 over 1000 meters. Yeah, so therefore 2500 millimeters is 2500 over 1000. So zap zap, yes, 2.5. Good job. You see how it's the simpler things that has messed me up, you know. I just get messed up by the simple things, yeah? 32, yeah. Yeah. You didn't get it? What did you put? Oh. All right. So you see, but do you understand what I did? No problem. At the end of the day, the circle above with center O, the full circle has an area of 20, right? Right? So the 20 centimeters squared. So the full circle have the area of 20 centimeters squared. So they want the area of this part here. So remember, the full circle is 360 degrees, right? And we did this in geometry when it comes to the area of a sector. So if the full circle is 360 degrees, then this sector is 60 degrees. So this sector is a fraction of the whole circle. So that is 60 over 360. So that is the fraction of the whole circle multiplied by the area of the whole circle will give you the area of the fraction of the circle. How do you feel about that?
Okay, I understand.
You sure? Right. So the formula for this is if you want the area of a sector. The area of a sector is the amount of degrees of the sector over the full amount of the circle, right? Which is the fraction of the sector multiplied by the full radius of the circle, pi r squared. And this is the area of a sector, and that's what we did here. They gave us the full area of the circle, and this is the fraction. You understand?
Yes.
All right. So 34, the volume of the cylinder in centimeter cube. So the volume of a cylinder, we have to find the area of the base, which is pi r squared. We can see the diameter here. So pi r, which is 3 squared, because the diameter is 6, times h, which is 20, right? So what we'll have here is 9 pi times 20. 9 2s are 18, 180 pi, and that is A. So notice, because pi is an irrational number, means that people don't like to express pi as a decimal because it's not accurate. So they like to express it in terms of pi, because pi is an irrational number. So this is the most accurate that we can ever express pi, by just writing the symbol pi, right? The distance around the edge of a circular pond is 88. The radius in meters is. The distance or the perimeter around the edge of a circular pond is 88, right? So the distance around it is 88. That is the circumference. So the circumference is 2 pi r. The circumference is 88. So therefore the radius is 88 all over 2 pi. That is the radius, which is 44 over pi. Yeah, which you see in here, D. The radius in meters is 44 over pi. An aircraft leaves A at 1600 hours and arrives at B at 1930 hours, traveling at an average speed of 550 kilometers per hour. A and B are in the same time zone. The distance from A to B in kilometers is. So the aircraft leaves at 1600 and then it arrives at B at 1930 hours. So that is 16, 17, 18, 19. That is 3.5 hours it takes to go from A to B, traveling at an average speed of 550 kilometers per hour, right? The distance from A to B is this. Well, we know that speed is equal to the distance moved over time taken. So therefore, distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. So that is your 550 multiplied by your 3.5. And 550 times 3, we could do 550 times 3. Let's do 550 times 3 and we will get, well, I could go 0 times 3 is 0. I could go 5 3s are 15 and I could go the other 5 3s are 15 and 1 is 16, so that's 1650, right? And then I could go 550 plus a half. So a half of 550, well, a half of 500 is 250. So therefore a half of 550 will be 275. Yeah. So 650 plus 275. 1650 plus 275, and we get the answer here to be 1925. Right. So you notice it's not just a doing the question, but I'm trying to show you how I'm doing it in my mind as well. Yeah, because it is a mental math thing. Question 37. The volume of the cuboid is this, and the height is 5 centimeters. If the cuboid has a square base, what is the length of one side of the base? Right, so the volume of a cuboid, and you notice they say cuboid, right? So a cuboid is basically a cube, but with a longer cube, right? So at the end of the day, the volume of this is 320 centimeters cube, and the height is 5, as I can see here. If the cuboid has a square base, so it's telling me that this is a square, so that means that this side is equal to this side, right? And I could use x if you want. Because it is a square base means that x and x, right? What is the length of one side of the base? Well, the volume is length by breadth by height. So that is x times 5, and that is equal to 320. So that means that x squared times 5 is equal to 320. And x squared is going to be 320 divided by 5, and 320 divided by 5, well, I could go, well, 5 divided by 300 divided by 5, that is 6t, yeah, because 6 5s are 30, and then I have 20 divided by 5 is 4, so the answer is 64 there. So x squared is 64, however, and you see they have 64 there just to teeth your head, eh? But no, they wanted the length of one side of the base. So that is x, which is the square root of 64. So the actual answer is 8. 38. A square has the same area as a rectangle with sides of 9 and 16. So I have a rectangle 9 and 16. And they say here a square has the same area as the rectangle. Right? So I have this rectangle 9 times 16. So let me find the area of the rectangle, right? So 9 times 10 is 90 plus 6 nines are 54, is it? Yeah. 9 times 6 is 54. So therefore 9 and 5, well, I have 4 here, and then 9 and 5 is 14, 144, and we'll look at that. So therefore, if the area of this is of 144, then the square, which has the same sides, x squared is equal to 144. What is the length of the side of the square? So that'll be the square root of 144, which is 12. You okay with this, Shizzy?
Yes.
Soraya, are you okay so far? Anything confusing yet, apart from that question 28? Yeah. Soraya probably fall asleep. Yeah? Yeah, something confusing? Alright, okay. Cool, no see, right? So the distance, and if anything is confusing, feel free to let me know, right? The distance around the lake is 8 kilometers. Didn't we just do a question like this? On our map, the distance around the lake represented, distance around the lake is 8 kilometers on a map. So 8 kilometers on the map, right, is represented by 2 centimeters. The scale of the map is, well, we know that if we have a scale with 2 to 8, that is essentially so if 2 centimeters will give us 8 kilometers, right? Remember, centimeters and kilometers is 2 different things. So how many centimeters in a kilometer, right? We have 100 centimeters, right, is 1 meter. Another one of these again. And then 1,000 meters in a 1 kilometer. So 1,000 of these times 100. So that is 100,000. So this is really 2 centimeters to 800,000 centimeters. Yeah, so now I could cap this off as being 1 to 400,000 in terms of centimeters. 40, the median of the numbers. So remember, median is the middle number. So I have to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I take this 5 and this 5 here, then that means that the median is actually the middle 2, which is 6.5. Refers to the following table, which shows the frequency of scores obtained by students in a test. So we're dealing with here, the modal score is the one that is most popular. So we could see that most kids got a score of 8. So notice how they also had 12 as the answer, eh? But I just want, and so it's easy for people to put 12 as the answer there. But just remember that they ask for the modal score. And when you see the word modal, I want you to think about popularity. Which one is the most popular? So when they say modal score is the most popular score. So the most popular score is the score that has the most students in it. So we can see 12 is the most students. So 12, so that means that 8 is the most popular score, right? So be careful with that. The heights in centimeters of 10 students are 150, 1 blah 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 blah. The range is what? So what I should do is I should take, in terms of the range, I need to take the lowest number and minus it from the highest number. So to me, it looks like the lowest number is 150. Anything lower than 150? Nope. It looks like the highest number is 170. So the range is 20. 43. 43 is based on the following bar chart, which shows the ages of children who took part in a survey. So the number of children and ages in years. So I can see 4-year-olds, it had 3 4-year-olds, it had 4 5-year-olds, and so on. How many children took part in the survey? So we said we had 3 4-year-olds, and I'll just do it in red. 3 4-year-olds. We have 4 children who are 5 years old. We have 2 children who are 6 years old. 5 children who are 7 years old. 1 child who is 8 years old. So 5, 3 and 2 is 5, so that's 10. And then 4 and 1 is 5, that's 15. 15 kids in all. 600 students write an exam. The probability of randomly selecting a student failing the exam. So 600 students is writing the exam. The probability of randomly selecting a student that fails the exam is 150. So how many students are expected to pass? Well, if 1/5 of 600 is expected to fail, that means 4/5 of 600 is expected to pass. So 12 actually, how I put 3 there? 5 times 12 is 60, right? So this is 120. Yeah, so 600 divided by 5 is 120 times 4. Well, 12 fours are 48. So 480 students are expected to pass here. We're almost done, guys, almost done. And you can see here we'll barely make the hour and a half. We have refers to the following pie chart, which shows the drinks preferred by a group of students. Alright, so it already explained anything that I can't see in the diagram here. Real drinks and 120 degrees are people who like milk, right? If 12 students prefer lemonade, so they're saying that lemonade here is 12 students. And what refers to the following pie chart, which was the drinks preferred by a group of students. AOC is the diameter. So AOC is the diameter, no problem. Then the total number of students is. Right? So this is a nice question. So if 12 students prefer lemonade, they tell you that this is the diameter, which means that this is 180 degrees. And if this is 120, then that means that this is 60 degrees, right? So 60 degrees is gonna be 12 students. So we could go 1 degree being 12 over 60. And now we could go 360 degrees will be 12 over 60 multiplied by 360. Zap, zap. 6 2s are 12. 2 times 36 is 6 2s are 12, and 3 2s are 6 and 1 is 7. 72 students in all. 46 refers to the following mapping diagram. So we have mapping diagrams here, and the relationship is best described is not a 1-to-1. This is a many-to-1, right? Many-to-1 is C. And just to recap that topic, we have here 1-to-1 would be one thing going to one thing, like that. 1-to-many would be one thing going to many things, like that. Yeah. Many-to-many is if I had one going to many things here, but I can also have many things going to one thing here. That is many-to-many, right? And then many-to-one. So you can see here that I have these two going to this. These two are going to this. These two are going to this. This is a many-to-one relation. This is the one Right. This question here was actually in the last paper, the form one, not the form one, the paper one, the last paper one that I corrected, which I posted a video. But they actually had an error in it where they had all of the circles were not shaded. So, you know, it was kind of, you couldn't really have an answer for that there because all of the diagrams looked the same. So it looked like in this time around they corrected the mistake here. Which of the following lines represents that? Well, we could see here that the equal sign is by the 4. So anything by the 4 will have to be shaded. So yes, we could see the non-equal sign is by the -2. So the -2 is unshaded. So yes, D will be your answer here. Quadratic functions, right? Notice, and I want you to notice when you're looking at the quadratic function, it's not in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. If I wanted to put it in that form, it would be y is equal to minus x squared plus 4x, and well, c is 0. Remember, c is the intercept on the y-axis. You could see here that c is 0, and I really hate this graph paper. The printing of this graph paper is so confusing. But you can also tell with the negative a that we're dealing with, you know, when a is negative, we're dealing with a frown. When a is positive, we're dealing with a smile, alright? So just remember it like that, yeah? The maximum point of that is, well, the maximum point will be right here, and that will be 2 on the x, 4 on the y, so that is the point 2, 4. The values of x at the points where intersects the line y is equal to 0. The line y is equal to 0 is the x-axis. That is this line. And you can see here, it cuts the x-axis at 0 and 4. So it cuts the x-axis at x is 0 and x is 4. Number 50 refers to another mapping diagram here. The diagram represents the mapping of, so what is the function being represented here? So 0 is going to 1, 1 is going to 2, 2 is going to 4, 3 is going to 8. Interesting, right? So I can see here, if 3 going to 8, it has to be 2 to the power of 3. Yeah? So that means that the only answer here is C, 2 to the power of x. Yes, and that's working for all of them, right? Which of the following sets is represented by the function, that function here, where x is an element of 0, 1, 2, and 3. So they're giving you what x is. X is 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? So when x is 0, the y, because remember f of x is just a fancy way of saying y, right? So when x is 0, y will be 3. So I see in all of them have that as the first point. When x is 1, y will be 3 plus 1, which is 4. So I've seen that only B and D have that. So I've narrowed it down. And when x is 2, 2 2s are 4 plus 3 is, so when x is 2, 4 plus 3 is 7. So it's only D here that have that. Yeah, so I got the answer, and just you know, 3 and 3 3s are 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, you will get 3, 12 for the last one, right? Shizay, you understand how I did this one?
Yes.
All right. Item 52 refers to the following transversal diagram. PQ and RS parallel, well, duh. Which of the following best describes the relation between P and Q? P is equal to Q, These are alternate angles, so that is A. P is equal to Q, right? Refers to the following diagram, which shows a translation. So I have a translation. I see A is B, A to B, and then A prime to B prime. Okay. In the diagram, the translation by which AB is mapped onto A prime B prime. Right? Well, AB being mapped onto A prime B prime, which means that I have to take a look at A to A prime. Right? So in order to go from 2 to 4, I have to move horizontally a space of 2, and then from 5 to 6 I have to move up a space of 1, and chances are it'll be the same thing here. 5 to 7 horizontally 2, 1. So the answer there is 2, 1, B. Right? Item number 54 is the one that we are afraid of the most, is circle theory. However, Shazay, you have shown a great understanding of circle theory. So the circle, 0 is the center of the circle, then y is twice, the center is twice that of the circumference. So that is 100. 55. A ship sailed, and this is a repeat question, it was in the last paper that we did. A ship sailed 8 kilometers due east from A to B. So a ship sailed 8 kilometers. So if this is A and it going from A to B due east, so east is in this direction, yeah, and it then sailed 8 kilometers here, and then it then sailed 6 kilometers due north to C. So 6 and C is over here. Which of the following diagrams best represents the path? So we can see here that C, from what we just drew here, 8 kilometers, 6 kilometers, yes, make sure 8 and 6, 8 and 6, 8 is on the base. Nice. Question number 56 refers to the following diagram, which shows a transformation, right? So we can see PQR, we can see the image P, Q, and R, and it looks like a combination. It looks like if it was reflected in the x-axis and then it was moved, right? Or it could also be a reflection in the origin, actually. You know, yeah, and it is most likely a reflection in the origin, right? So the transformation, which will map that triangle to the image, is a rotation of 180 degrees about the origin. Yes, that would do it. A reflection in the line Y, is certainly not that. An enlargement is certainly not an enlargement. A translation parallel, well, no, it's not a translation, so it has to be this. A rotation of 180 degrees. So we can see here from R to R prime is definitely 180 degrees. Yes, so that will work. 57, we're dealing with trigonometry here. Shows the angle of depression. So the diagram not drawn to scale shows that the angle of depression of point X from Z is 35 degrees. So we can see the 35 degrees. So if you were standing here and you were looking down from the horizontal, you would have to be looking down at an angle of 35 degrees to see X, right? If X is 12 meters from Y, the height of YZ, so we want to find the height of YZ here. So at the end of the day, we could see this in many ways. One of the ways that we could see this is by completing this here. And if we completed this, just now, if X is 12 meters, the height of YZ, so this height here would be the same as the height of YZ. So this side here, right? This is hypotenuse. This will be the opposite, this will be the adjacent. So we have so, ka, toa. No, not toa. Toa. Right? So we would see here that if this is the adjacent and this is the opposite, remember this adjacent would also be 12. So the adjacent is 12. Right? And we don't have the opposite. We want to find the opposite. So we're dealing with opposite and adjacent here. So we're dealing with tan. So the tan of 35 degrees is equal to opposite over 12, which is the adjacent. Therefore 12 tan 35 will give me the opposite, which is 12 tan 35 is C. Right? So you see it draw it like that, but I could have thought about it a different way. I could have thought about it like this being parallel to this, which means that this is the transversal. So that means that this angle is alternate to that, which means that that angle would be 35 degrees as well. So I could have worked out that this angle here is 35 degrees, and so therefore we would have had the same adjacent over opposite, and you would have got the same tan, right? Refers to the following diagram, which shows an enlargement. Okay, so I can see the enlargement there in the diagram, blah, blah, where O is the center of enlargement, so that's the origin. What is the scale factor of the enlargement? That's pretty easy to work out here. We can just look at one of the sides. If this side is 2 and this side is 4, then 2 times 2 will give me 4. So this here is a scale factor of positive 2. ABC is mapped onto A prime, B prime, C prime, right? Now be careful with this question, because ABC is mapped onto A prime, B prime, C prime. So that means that the image is bigger than the object. So you're multiplying by 2 to get bigger, right? But if, let me just say that this was ABC and this was A prime, B prime, C prime, then you would actually have to be multiplying by a half to get from the image to, from the object to the image there, right? So be careful in terms of knowing which is the object and which is the image in a question like this. Yeah. 59. Ooh, another trigonometry question. We have 2 trigonometry questions here. Well, a trigonometry and a geometry here. Refers to this diagram here. In the right angle triangle above, which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4 over 8? Well, 4 over 8, and I'll just put my SOHCAHTOA, right? So we can see here, well, it depends on which angle you're dealing with, right? It depends on the angle that you're dealing with, because 4 over 8, if you're dealing with x from angle x, that is opposite. 4 is the opposite and 8 is the hypotenuse, right? So we can see here that this will be the sine, which will be opposite over hypotenuse. And if we were dealing from the y perspective, 4 over 8 would be adjacent. 4 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we can see that the cos, adjacent over hypotenuse. So the cos of y would be that, but it doesn't have the cos of y here. So obviously the answer is sine of x. And then the very last question of the day refers to the following diagram. So we can see here that this arrow tells us that these 2 lines are parallel. We have the line AB being parallel to the line EC. So the value of angle BDE, so that is this angle here. Well, these 2 angles are co-interior. Co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. So therefore 140 plus that 40 will give me 180 degrees, and that is that.